Hi there everybody, it's Verity here from inkybutterfly.com. Thank you very much for joining me again for another card making tutorial. And we are using hand penned petals stump set today and the coordinating dies. So these are the dies that you get in the bundle. These are called penned flowers. So these will cut out the main images plus some nice little extras as well, so do some layering and stuff. So that's the stamp set we're using. The designer series paper that I've used on the backgrounds there is also in the as part of the collection, the suite of products, along with these lovely little gems as well. Okay, so those jewels just have that bit of glitter in them. I wonder if it picks it up. So they come in mint macaron and pale papaya, which was perfect for this particular layout that I've used here. So yeah, so we're going to make another version of this using a different piece of the designer series paper and changing the colours just a little bit. So I've already got one of those die cut just to save a little bit of time, and I've got a couple of white card bases there ready to go, and a couple of the basic white layers, which are 4 by 5 3/4. Okay, so here's the piece of designer series paper that we're working with. So this started life as a 12 by 12 sheet of paper, so I've cut that down here at 4 inches, and then I've cut the panels down to 5 3/4. Okay, so that's how that happened. So you can get, if you can imagine your full piece of paper, you're going to get 3 of those strips out of a piece of designer series paper, which means you can make 6 cards of this design and others from a single sheet of designer series paper, if you're covering the entire front, of course. So we're going to chop off 2.5 inches. Okay, and the reverse, so we'll decide which bit we want to flip over actually. So I quite like the top portion of this one, so I'm going to flip over the bottom, and we've got this beautiful Highland Heather leaf design on there. And then we're going to do the same with this one, chop off 2.5 inches. And I quite like the bottom portion on this one, which is fortuitous, isn't it? And then we'll have the Highland Heather bit at the top. So you could have cut them the same and make 2 duplicate cards, but just for fun we're just going to mix around the different layers to give each card a slightly different look. So what we're just going to do is just apply those to the basic white, and you could apply it straight to the card if you prefer. I'm doing it this way so that I can add some ribbon around the middle. Okay, so I'm just making sure that that's stuck down nicely. A couple of strips of tape. Put that up against there. And that's the top portion, so that hasn't quite lined up on there, but we'll just go with it. There are just, you get little minor inaccuracies when you're cutting designer series paper and cardstock and stuff, so sometimes you find that things don't line up quite as you intended. So I'll put the glue on this one while I'm here. It's always a shame to put adhesive on pretty on the patterns, but you do get 2 sheets of everything in the so 6 designs, but you get 2 of each, and 12 sheets of paper in total in the regular designer series packs. So I don't use a lot of designer series paper, so that lasts me a good old while. So I just decided to line that one up from the top just to make sure that covered, which is probably what I should have done with there, because the middle would have been covered by the ribbon we're going to add. Okay, so there we are, 2 card fronts. Don't you just love Highland Heather? Isn't it such a lovely colour? Lovely colour. So I'm just going to run a couple of bits of tape on the back of there to secure some of our crinkled seam binding ribbon. So you could colour this if you wanted to, but I'm just going for the white for today's project. So I'm just going to sort of get it in place, and we're going to go around 3 times. So I'm sort of going above the join, below the join, and then across the middle for one last wrap, so that there's a bit of additional texture there. Nice way to add another element to your card. And we will chop that off. So no additional bow or anything, we're just going with the wrap around element. Okay, so that's that one done. And then we'll do the same with this one. So yeah, 2 for 1 on this particular video, so I've got a little bit of overhang there, but I'm not going to worry about it right now. But if you're at home, you might want to just make sure all your edges are just nice and squared up. Not going to show anyway once we've got it onto the card base. Okay, and if you find you haven't got any sticky stuff exposed, oh, I have got sticky stuff exposed, there we go, that's it. You could just use some sticky tape just to secure that on the back. Okay, so there we go, there's our ribbon applied to those, and then these can go straight onto our card bases. So a bit more seal going onto the back of there. And this one. And then we'll put those onto our card fronts. So I've opted for plain white card bases. You could of course have picked out any one of the colours in the paper to coordinate, but as I was using the white ribbon I thought that's okay. And the base of the you know, the design on the it's quite heavy on the white anyway, so I think that works alright, and it sort of gives it a bit of a freshness, sort of springy, summery kind of look to it. So just make sure that's down. And there we have our 2 card bases, reasonably quick and simple to do there. And those portions of designer series paper could be altered and changed as you wish. Just going to die cut another one of those little pieces from this piece of white cardstock that I've got. Just a scrap out of the bin. As you can see, it's not a regular shape at all, just enough to get that die cut. Okay, so that's just in the die there. So what we'll do, we'll turn that over, we'll use our die brush just to help press that out, she says. So that's come out, all the little pieces have just come out. And then if we use the pokey tool end, we should be able to get that out, and that's come out with no problem whatsoever. You just need to have another brush over the die itself just to loosen up any of those little pieces that have got stuck inside it. So that's something that you can, well, I can do later. You won't be doing it for me. Okay. And you'll have seen possibly that on the original samples I've got one of the die cuts that I've left white, and then the other one I've actually brushed over with the coordinating Pale Papaya ink. So just so that we've got something to compare and contrast, I'm going to do the same with this. I'm just going to take some Highland Heather in this case, because that's the coordinating colour that we've got in there, and just take just the oops, slightest bit of ink onto a blending brush and just add that over the top, and then we can compare and contrast on that. I'm going to go a little bit careful, and it doesn't need to be particularly even, it's just adding a bit of colour to that die cut. Okay, so for me the jury was out on whether the inking on the die cut really added anything, but we'll see. Maybe it will make more of a difference on this particular card. I'm now bringing in mint macaron and the little sentiment there. So I'll put away that grid paper. I'm just going to use the grid paper just to help me line that up onto the edge of this piece of cardstock, and then we'll trim it down to size. So we will put that about there. I'm going to flip it round, do the same again. Just using the tools we have to make sure things are straight. Apologies if you just see the top of my head there, just want to make sure I'm lining my block up with one of the lines on the grid paper there, just to try and make sure everything stays straight. Okay, so I've done this a couple of times now on videos where I sort of use the edge of a piece of cardstock like that, and we just use the trimmer to then guide us on how much we take off. So I'm just going to take that a bit closer to the edge there, because I can see in that gully, and I can make the nice even borders top and bottom by doing that. Okay, we'll do the same with this one. Just going to take the bottom off that one, and then shove it along and do the same along the top. And then we have those, and then we can just again just trim those down as we would like, because I don't want these to be huge. So there we are, nice little trimmed down sentiment. And of course, because you're using the trimmer, it's straight, using this butt bar to make sure everything stays lined up. And then we have another little sentiment there. Get rid of all these little pieces. The sentiments are going to go up onto dimensional, so we're just going to get those put onto the back so they're ready to go. And all we need to do now is put them together and add some embellishments. So the that's going on this one, and that's going on this one. Okay, so I'm just going to put some wet glue on some strategic points on the back of this. It doesn't have to be covered in glue, so we'll just place that somewhere around there, I think. So it doesn't matter, I don't mind all this lifting up, just adds a bit of texture. Okay, just hold it down long enough for those portions with the glue on to stick. And we'll do the same with this one, but putting it towards the bottom, so we're sort of changing the orientation and the layout by just mixing up the positioning of those. So again, just holding that down just for a couple of secs, just so that it grabs. There you go. It only needs a couple of minutes, and not even that really. Now I don't know whether that purple, just looking at that purple die cut, because of the fussiness of the background paper there, it's not just spots, it's got quite a lot more of a pattern to it. Not sure that the purple die cut really shows through that much. But then I'm not super sure it shows that well on the white either. So, you know, it was an idea anyway. There is another die that would, where did I put the die? That would then sort of be a backing to that. So we could cut the die again and lay it on top of some white or whatever, and that might have made it stand out a little bit more. So that's another thing that you guys could try as an alternative. What we haven't got on here is any bling. Now, so the other card, it happened that those embellishments were exactly the right colour. So I think this time we'll use some of the elegant faceted gems, which are very, very similar. Very, very similar in terms of their texture and size and things. But they also have clear and white versions. So what do we want? Do we want white or do we want clear? I might use clear, and then they'll just be really, really subtle in the background. And they'll pick up some of the colour from the background as well. Okay. So the rule of threes that I do like to use. I'll use one big one, two small ones, just that little visual triangle there. They are really subtle on there, as they are on the other cards, but again, it's just a nice sort of element of surprise for the recipient, that they'll see those twinkling in the background as well. Okay, so those are our finished cards for today. This is the papaya version. Hope you've enjoyed them. Hope it's given you some ideas. All the products used in the video today will be linked in the description bar below. Hope you've enjoyed it. Thanks ever so much for joining me. Have a great week, and I'll see you soon. Bye.